Hello friends, welcome to State Engineering Service examination section of Winds of Change. We will cover so many questions from the civil engineering topic here from Expert IES. You may contact us at windsoftchange2020@gmail.com, and for the study material you can download from the link given in the description box. You can subscribe to this channel to stay updated for more videos. You may like these videos if you feel useful for you and comment for any feedback. Welcome to fourth video in the continuation of top 160 questions of irrigation and hydrology. In this video, we will cover question number 91 to 120. So let's begin. The first question, that is 91st question, is a current meter is used to measure the velocity of flow of water, depth of flow of water, or discharge, or none of the above. A current meter. The current meter is also being discussed in environmental engineering, also in the water supply engineering, when the water supply is being taken to the house passing through ferrule, gooseneck and water meter. Okay, so the current meter is used to measure the velocity of water. Okay, through the number of rotation of this is the typical arrangement of current meter. Through the number of rotation of this current meter, we will determine the velocity of flow of water. Okay. Next question. A rain gauge should preferably be fixed near the building, under the tree, in an open space or in a closed space. Just think about it. For the rain gauge, there should not be any obstruction in the precipitation. Now, near the building, there will be obstruction. Under the tree will be an obstruction, while in the open space there will be no obstruction. So that is why in the open space we keep rain gauge. So option C will be the correct answer. Okay. Next question. With the increase in quantity of water supplied, the yield of most crops increases continuously, decreases continuously, increases up to a certain limit and then becomes constant, or increases up to a certain limit and then decreases. Just think about it. This is the question of the yield of the crops. The yield of crops, if you increase the amount of the supply of water, then obviously the yield will increase. But there is a limit of it. After that, if you will supply more water, then it will lead to the waterlogging condition in which the soil in the root zone cannot be aerated. So the answer that will be true here will be option D, that is it increases up to a certain limit and then decreases. Okay, the yield will be decreased after an optimum point is reached. Okay. Next question. If it rains between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. and the entire basin area just start contributing water at 3 p.m. to the outlet, the time of concentration will be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes or 60 minutes. You know the concept of time of concentration. Think about it. Now, if it rains between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. and the entire basin area just start contributing to water at 3 p.m., then the time of concentration will be 60 minutes, that is 1 hour, that is 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. will be the time. Because what is time of concentration? Time of concentration is the time needed for water to flow from the most remote point in a watershed to the watershed outlet. If it is being said that entire area start contributing at 3 p.m., that means the distance traveled by the water from the farthest most point, that is the most remote point, will be 1 hour, that is from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, so that is why 60 minutes will be the correct answer. Next question. The ratio of the rate of change of discharge of an outlet to the rate of change of level of the water surface in the distributary at its normal depth is known as efficiency, sensitivity, flexibility or modular limit. Just think about it. The ratio of the change of discharge of an outlet to the rate of change of level of the water surface in the distributary at its normal depth. This ratio is called as sensitivity. You should memorize this definition of sensitivity. It can be asked in an examination. Okay, moving on to next question. For supplying water to rabi crops, kharif crop and sugarcane, the channel is designed for a capacity equal to the greater of the water requirement of rabi or kharif, rabi and kharif or sugarcane, or Rabi and sugarcane or Kharif and sugarcane, or Rabi or Kharif or sugarcane. So what will be the combination that will be used here for supplying the water? Just think about it. The Rabi crop and Kharif crop, these are having its season, Rabi in the winter and Kharif in the summer, while sugarcane runs throughout the year. So the water requirement for sugarcane is throughout the year, while Rabi and Kharif crops having its time period during the year. So the channel will be designed for a capacity which will be equal to either Rabi and sugarcane or Kharif and sugarcane. Which will be the higher value, that one will be taken. So here the answer that will become will be option C, that is maximum of either Rabi and sugarcane or Kharif and sugarcane. Okay. Next question, that is 97th question. The useful storage of the volume of water stored in the reservoir between minimum pool level and maximum pool level, minimum pool level and normal pool level and maximum pool level, or riverbed and minimum pool level. We are talking about the useful storage of volume of water. Useful storage of volume of water stored in a reservoir, that will be in between, just think about it, in between minimum maximum, or minimum and normal, or normal and maximum, or riverbed and minimum. This riverbed and minimum pool level, this one is called the dead storage, and normal pool level and the maximum pool level, this will be called as surcharge storage. So these two cannot be the answer. This is surcharge storage and this is the dead storage. Now the two options that is left here will be minimum pool level and maximum pool level, or minimum pool level and the normal pool level. So this is useful storage is the minimum pool level and normal pool level. Okay, this is the difference between minimum pool level and normal pool level, that is option B will be the correct answer. Okay, this is the normal pool level, this is the normal pool level and this is the minimum pool level. Okay, so this much will be the useful storage. Okay, in between these two, this much will be the useful storage, and surcharge storage will be from the normal pool level to the maximum HFL, or dead storage the minimum pool level and stream bed. Okay, next question. A river bend characterized by scouring on the concave side only, silting on the convex side only, scouring on the convex side and on the concave side, or scouring on the concave side and silting on the convex side. Think about it. In a river bend or in a mender, what will be the silting and scouring conditions? Which side it will be silting, which side it will be scouring, or both sides there will be same. Just think about it. In a river bed, the scouring will occur at the concave side and silting will occur on the convex side. That is option D will be the correct answer. You can watch it here. Let's say this is a bend. In this one is the convex side and this is the concave side. At the convex side there will be the deposition, while on the concave side there will be erosion. Okay, so there will be silting at the convex side and erosion at the concave side. Next question. In a barrage, the crest level is kept low with large gates, high with large gates, high with no gates, or low with no gates. Think about it. In a barrage, the condition of a barrage, there are gates provided above the crest level to change the level of the water in the upstream end. Here the answer will be low level with large gates. The crest level in the barrage, top of solid obstruction, is kept at low level. During flood, gates are raised to clear of the high flood level. Okay, this is the case of the barrage. In this is the crest. Now at the crest level, we keep it lower so that there can be a gate above it. Now in case we have to open the reservoir, then we will lower the gate so that the water can flow in the downstream side. Okay. Next question. As compared to the crest of the normal portion of the weir, the crest of under sluice portion of weir is kept at lower level, higher level, same level, or any of the above depending on the design. Just think about it. At the under sluice portion, the crest is kept. The answer will be, it will be kept at lower level. The crest of the under sluice portion of the weir is kept at a lower level, that is 1 to 1.5 meter than the crest of the normal portion of the weir. Okay, that is why it is called as undersluice. So it is kept 1 to 1.5 meter lower. Okay, A will be the correct answer. Next question. The runoff increases with increase in the intensity of rain, increase in the infiltration capacity, increase in the permeability of the soil, or all of the above. Think about it. What is the condition for increase of the runoff? The runoff will definitely increase with the intensity of rainfall. As much will be the rain, that much will be the discharge, and that much will be the runoff. Increase with infiltration capacity, which is absolutely incorrect, because infiltration is the one which will lead to the deep percolation of the water. Okay, so that is why it will decrease the runoff. While increase in the permeability, if the permeability will increase, the infiltration will increase. That is why it will also lead to the decrease in runoff. So option A will be the correct answer. That is the runoff increases with increase in the intensity of rainfall. Now increase in the rainfall intensity increase the peak discharge and volume of runoff for given infiltration rate. In the initial phases of the storm, when the soil is dry, a rainfall intensity less than the infiltration rate produces no surface runoff. Okay, that is why there is a concept of phi index that comes into the picture. Next question. The ratio of the quantity of the water stored in the root zone of the crop to the quantity of the water actually delivered to the field is known as water conveyance efficiency, water application efficiency, water use efficiency, or none of the above. Think about it, very easy question. The quantity of water which is stored in root zone with respect to quantity of water actually delivered in the field. The quantity of water delivered in field minus there will be some runoff. So if we will subtract that, it will be actual water that will be delivered to the field. So it will be called as water application efficiency. Okay. We have explained about it in the video of revision of irrigation engineering. You can watch it at this channel. The link of this video is given in the description box, or you may visit to the app of Winds of Change to watch the revision videos. In this you can see water application efficiency is given as water stored in the root zone, that is weight of water stored in root zone upon water delivered to the field minus runoff minus deep percolation, that is the actual water which will be delivered to the field. Okay, this was asked in the question. Next question. Infiltration is the movement of water through the soil, absorption of water by the soil surface, or both A and B, or none of the above. Think about it, very easy question. Infiltration is the movement of water through the soil. That is the percolation of water through soil, which is called as infiltration. Okay, the water goes deep down into the soil and joins the water table. Next question. Vertical drop fall is satisfactory for a height up to 0.5 meter, 1.5 meter, 3.5 meter, or 5 meter. Think about it. The vertical drop is satisfactory up to a height of 1.5 meter. B will be the correct answer. Okay. Next question. The discharge passing over an Augie spillway is given by, where L is the effective length of spillway crest, H is the total head over the spillway crest including velocity head. So what will it be? And CD will be the coefficient of discharge. CDL H raised to power 3 by 2, or CDH L raised to power 3 by 2, or CDL H raised to power 5 by 2, or CDL H raised to power 1 by 2. Which one will be the correct answer here? Think about it. We have discussed it already in the video of revision of fluid mechanics. You can visit to that video also. It is available at this channel only. So the answer will be option A, that is CDL H raised to power 3 by 2. This is the discharge formula for Augie spillway, where CD is the coefficient of discharge, L is the effective length of spillway crest, and H is the total head over the crest including velocity head. Okay. Next question. The measure to remove water logging of land is to reduce percolation from canal and water courses, or to increase outflow from the groundwater reservoir, or both A and B, or neither A and B. Think about it. The answer will be option C, that is both A and B. First of all, we will reduce the percolation from the canal and water courses, because from the percolation from canal and water courses, it will lead to the water logging in the surrounding field. And to increase the outflow from the groundwater reservoir, because if the groundwater level comes near the surface, then it will also lead to the condition of water logging. Okay, so both A and B will be the correct answer. Next question. A hydraulic structure is designed to withstand seepage forces, hydraulic jump, hydraulic pressure, or all of the above. Hydraulic structure, if it is designed, then it is designed to withstand what are the forces? Think about it. Here it will resist, it has to be designed to withstand all the forces, that is seepage force also, hydraulic jump also, hydraulic pressure also. Okay, so we have to consider all the forces. Next question. Attracting groins are built perpendicular to the bank, inclined downstream, inclined upstream, or none of these. Very easy question and very important question also. Which one is called attracting groins and which one is called repelling groins? The answer will be option B, that is the attracting groins are built inclined downstream. If it is inclined in the downstream direction, this is the downstream direction, this is a river flow and this is downstream direction. So if it is inclined to the downstream direction, it will be called as attracting groins. If it is inclined at upstream side, then it will be called as repelling groins. Okay, this is attracting groins and this one will be repelling groins. Next question. A unit hydrograph has one unit of rainfall duration, rainfall excess, time base of direct runoff or discharge. Just think about it, very easy question. Unit hydrograph has one unit of the rainfall excess. Okay, option B will be the correct answer. Very easy question. A rainfall excess of 1 centimeter, that will be called as unit hydrograph. Okay. Next question. For a standing crop, the consumptive use of the water is equal to the depth of water transpirated by the crop, evaporated by the crop, transpirated and evaporated by the crop, or used by the crop in transpiration, evaporation, and also quantity of the water evaporated from the adjacent soils. So this question is also an easy one. For the standing crops, the consumptive use of water is the sum of all of these. So what will be the answer here? It will be option D, that is consumptive use of water is the water that is used in transpiration, that is used in evaporation, and also the water that will be evaporated from the adjacent land. Okay, so transpiration of the crop, evaporation from the crop, as well as the evaporation from the adjacent soil. If we sum up all these, then it will be called as consumptive use of water. Okay. Next question. As per Lassie's theory, the silt factor is directly proportional to the average particle size, inversely proportional to the average particle size, or directly proportional to the square root of the average particle size, or not related to the average particle size. Lassie's silt factor. Think about it. Can you recall the formula of Lassie's silt factor? It will be 1.76 root d mm. So obviously it is directly proportional to the square root of the average particle size. So answer C will be the correct answer, directly proportional to the square root of average particle size. Okay, this average particle size is given in mm. Next question. Horizontal acceleration due to earthquake results in hydrodynamic pressure, inertia force into the body of the dam, or both A and B, or none of the above. This is also easy question and this is a very basic question. Can you recall it? The horizontal acceleration due to the earthquake, it will result in the hydrodynamic pressure as well as the inertia force on the body of the dam, into the body of the dam. Okay, so both A and B will be the correct answer. That is option C will be correct. Next question. The stream which does not have any base flow contribution is called perennial stream, intermittent stream, ephemeral stream, or none of the above. Just think about it. Very good question. This question was asked in any of the state service examination once. The stream which does not have any base flow contribution, that is called as ephemeral stream. Okay, what are ephemeral stream? These are temporary stream that only flows for a brief period as a direct result of the precipitation, it does not have any base flow contribution. Okay, so ephemeral stream is a temporary stream that only flows for a brief period as a direct result of precipitation. Memorize it, is very important. It occurs mainly in the arid and semi-arid regions where rainfall occurs infrequently. Okay, so this is the definition of ephemeral stream. Next question. When a canal is carried over natural drainage, the structure provided is known as siphon, aqueduct, superpassage or siphon aqueduct. This is very easy question. When canal is over the natural drainage, just simply it is being said canal is over natural drainage and no other condition has been mentioned about the HFL of any canal or drainage. So what will be the answer here? It will be aqueduct. When canal is carried over the natural drainage, it is called aqueduct. If it is being said that the HFL of the natural drainage is above the bed level of the canal, then it will be called as siphon aqueduct. Okay, and rivers are the condition of the siphon and superpasses. Next question. If the critical shear stress of a channel is tau c, then the average value of the shear stress required to move the grain on the bank is 0.5 tau c, 0.75 tau c or 1.33 tau c. Just think about it. Can you recall the critical shear stress conditions? There was two conditions. One was at the bottom of the river or canal and another one as the bank, that is at the side slopes. So the answer here will be option B, that is 0.75 tau c. We have explained about the tractive shear stress properly in the video of irrigation engineering revision. You can visit to it from the link given in the description box. This will be tau naught, that is at channel bed. It will be gamma WRS. Now for no scouring condition, this tau c must be greater than tau naught. So we are taking a condition here that tau c is equal to tau naught condition at the channel bed level. Okay, and at the side slopes, this tau naught dash is given by 0.75 times of gamma WRS. So it will be 0.75 times of the tau c if we consider it tau naught equal to tau c. Okay, at these conditions, since this is at the side slope and this one is the channel bed, and in the question it is being asked about the shear stress required to move the grain on the bank. Okay, on the bank. So it will be option B, that is 0.75 tau c. Okay, next question. The main purpose of mean water training for rivers is flood control, to provide sufficient depth of water in navigable channel during low water period, or to preserve the channel in good shape by efficient disposal of the suspended and bed load, or all of the above. Just think about it. Here, the main purpose of the water training for river is to preserve the channel in good shape by efficient disposal of the suspended and bed load. This is the main purpose of river training work. We preserve the channel in good shape in the resigned condition by efficient disposal of suspended and bed load. Next question. In North Indian plains, optimum depth of core watering for wheat is 23 centimeter, 19 centimeter, 17.5 centimeter or 13.5 centimeter. Just think about it. In North Indian plain, this is a memory based question. So if you know, then only you can recall it. It will be option D, that is 13.5 centimeter. In North Indian plains, the optimum depth of core watering for wheat is 13.5 centimeter. Okay. Next question. For a catchment area of 120 km square, the equilibrium discharge in m³ per hour of an S curve obtained by the summation of 6R unit hydrograph is 0.2 into 10 raised power 6 m³ per hour, 0.6 into 10 raised power 6 m³ per hour, or 2.4 into 10 raised power 6 per hour, or 7.2 into 10 raised power 6 m³ per hour. Just think about it. Since we have provided the catchment area and we have been given the unit hydrograph, okay, so we can equate the volume here of both the cases. In this, for 120 km square area, if it is unit hydrograph, then there will be 1 centimeter of rainfall. So we'll multiply it by 1 centimeter, total volume of the rainfall will be obtained. This will be equal to the discharge, that is Q, which was asked in the question, into number of hours of the supply. Okay, so in this the Q that will be obtained will be 0.2 into 10 raised to power 6 m cube per hour. That is option A will be the correct answer. Okay, 0.2 into 10 raised to power 6 m cube per hour. This will be the equilibrium discharge. Next question. The most suitable material for the central impervious core of a zoned embankment type dam is clay, coarse sand, silty clay, or clay mixed with the fine sand. Think about it. Inside of the core, if we have to provide the impervious zone, then we should have fine sand as well as clay that should be mixed with each other. So the option D will be the correct answer, that is clay mixed with the fine sand. This will be the condition of the most suitable material for the central impervious core of the zone embankment type dam. Okay, next question. The relation between the probability P and recurrence interval T is given by Pt equal to 1 or Pt square equal to 1. This should be T square. Okay, Pt square equal to 1, P by T equal to 1, or P by T square equal to 1. Just think about it. Relation between the probability and recurrence interval. Can you recall it? We have explained about it in the revision of hydrology video. You can watch it, and there we have explained this concept. It will be given by Pt equal to 1. Okay, that is, if P be the probability of the occurring of an event and Q be the probability of non-occurring of the event, then probability of occurrence will be given by P equal to 1 upon T, where T is the recurrence interval. Okay, and probability of non-occurrence will be given by 1 minus 1 upon T. Okay, so here we will finish with the fourth video of this 160 questions of hydrology and irrigation, and in the next video we will come up with the question number 121 to 160, that is 40 questions will be in the next video. Till that, subscribe to this channel and stay updated.